They heard me say it. I said that. If I was on there, I said that.
Turn around, please. You did not.
Shekinah, you stopped them and I said the same. You asked me, do you think I'm happier? That you asked me the question and I answered it. So why would you sit there and say that?
Because I am happy.
But why would you sit there and say that I ain't say that?
Because you didn't.
I think she's happy. Yes, I did.
It wasn't loud and clear.
Tell me. Yeah? Tell me what's going on right there. What's going on?
Breaking news. Atlanta's entertainment world has been shaken to its core. Leaked files and secret recordings have surfaced online, revealing what could be one of the most damaging scandals in T.I.'s career. Allegations are spreading that Shaw Anderson is pregnant, and the alleged father is none other than Clifford T.I. Harris. Social media platforms like Twitter and TikTok are in complete uproar. Shekinah, pregnant. DNA for T.I. Justice for Tiny. These hashtags are dominating timelines as fans express disbelief and heartbreak, claiming that if the rumors are true, Tiny's world has fallen apart. What began as speculation gained traction when supposed medical records appeared online, seemingly confirming a pregnancy timeline that aligns with T.I.'s stay at an Atlanta hotel. Many are calling it undeniable proof of betrayal. The emotional breaking point came when Tiny, visibly shaken, faced the media and said tearfully, "I want a DNA test. I deserve the truth. My family deserves the truth." But the turmoil only intensified. An anonymous insider released messages allegedly from Shekinah herself. Warning: if this DNA test becomes public, T.I. will lose everything. His wife, his empire, his name. Inside the courtroom, tension escalated further when an audio clip, reportedly featuring T.I.'s voice, played aloud. "Don't worry, Shekinah. If this gets out, I'll handle Tiny." The courtroom gasped. Tiny broke down in tears, clutching her daughter and crying, "Your father destroyed our home!" Cameras captured every heartbreaking moment. A family torn apart, a marriage in ruins, and a legacy on the brink of collapse. Atlanta, the city of rhythm, fame, and ambition, has awakened to one of its darkest mornings. The usual buzz of music has been replaced by whispers, and those whispers sting deeply. One secret, deeply personal and dangerous, has shattered the polished image of Clifford T.I. Harris. The aftermath is rippling across the internet. It all started with a single leak, not a rumor, but a complete data breach. Medical records, voice notes, private messages, not just hinting at scandal, but exposing betrayal in plain sight. The central claim? Shekinah Anderson is pregnant, and the father is not an unknown man, but T.I., the king of the South. A husband, a father, a man once admired for power and success, now surrounded by controversy. Twitter didn't just react, it exploded. Shekinah pregnant, DNA for T.I., pure justice for Tiny. These hashtags didn't trend, they dominated the internet. TikTok users flooded timelines with emotional reactions. Some crying on camera, voices trembling in disbelief. If this is real, many said, Tiny's life will never be the same. Then came the defining moment. Tiny stood before reporters, her voice shaking but her gaze fierce. "I can't live in lies anymore," she said. "I need a DNA test. My children deserve the truth." Within moments, the footage spread across every platform. Clips of Tiny trembling, breaking down, became symbols of pain and betrayal. She was no longer just a celebrity. She became a reflection of every woman deceived and devastated by secrets. But the story deepened when Shekinah's alleged medical report leaked online. A single line caused a media storm. Estimated conception date matches T.I.'s Atlanta hotel stay. That sentence alone set the internet ablaze. Commentators called it evidence, not gossip. The Harris household descended into chaos. Reports claimed Tiny locked herself away, refusing to eat or sleep, and even fainted during a tense family meeting. Her son had to carry her out. Meanwhile, T.I. maintained complete silence. His Instagram went blank. No posts, no explanations, and that silence only fueled more speculation. Many called it a silent confession. Then came the whistleblower. An anonymous account released private messages allegedly between Shekinah and a friend, reading, "If this DNA test goes public, T.I. will lose everything, his wife, his empire, his career." Screenshots flooded every feed. The internet divided. Some accused Shekinah of manipulation, while others believed she was living in fear. Yet one thing was certain: the Harris empire was unraveling before the world's eyes. Then came the long-awaited courtroom showdown. Paparazzi crowded the courthouse steps, cameras flashing non-stop. Supporters raised signs that read "Nanker Justice for Tiny" and "Number DNA doesn't lie," while reporters pushed through, desperate for any inside access. This wasn't a simple hearing. It felt like a public reckoning. Inside, the atmosphere was tense. Tiny sat beside her attorneys, clutching tissues, her face streaked with tears. Shekinah entered soon after, surrounded by guards, her eyes swollen yet unyielding. And then came T.I., head lowered, hands clasped tightly, face hollow. The judge's voice broke through the silence as he read the case title. Temeka Tiny. Harris versus Clifford T.I. Harris and Shekinah Anderson, DNA and betrayal. Whispers filled the room. This was no longer just celebrity gossip. It was betrayal turned into legal reality. Then came the moment that froze everyone. A grainy audio recording played, allegedly T.I.'s voice. "Don't worry, Shekinah. If this comes out, I'll handle Tiny. Just trust me." The courtroom erupted. Reporters surged forward, cameras flashed wildly. Tiny stood screaming through tears, clutching her chest. "You destroyed me. You destroyed our family." Moments later, she collapsed. Right there, before the judge, her lawyers, and the crowd. Her daughter rushed to her side as cameras flashed, capturing what would soon become one of the most viral images of the decade. A queen broken, betrayed by the man she helped build an empire with. Outside, chaos ruled. Protesters chanted, fans cried, and reporters screamed live updates. Some condemned T.I. as the ultimate betrayer. Others accused Shekinah of manipulation. But one truth echoed above all. The Harris empire had fallen. As Tiny was carried out, her voice rang out, fierce and determined. "My children will know the truth. The world will know the truth. Clifford Harris will never break me again." Atlanta had seen its share of scandals, but this was different. This was heartbreak unfolding live. Because sometimes, the deepest betrayals don't come from enemies. They come from the ones you trust the most. The ones who promise to love you forever. For Tiny, the betrayal wasn't just private. It was public, painful, and absolute. It wasn't only the end of a marriage. It was the collapse of her entire world. That courtroom didn't feel like a place of justice. It felt like a battlefield. Reporters leaned forward, cameras buzzed, and the crowd waited in silence, sensing that something explosive was coming. This was no longer Tiny versus T.I. and Shekinah. It had become America versus betrayal. Tiny sat at the front, trembling, clutching a rosary as fans behind her held posters declaring, "Justice for Tiny, DNA never lies." Across the aisle, Shekinah sat quietly, her pregnancy visible now, eyes fixed on the sealed envelope before her. Her lawyer whispered urgently, but she didn't respond. Tears welled as she stared ahead, lost in guilt and fear. And T.I., once a symbol of power, sat rigid, trying to appear calm though his empire, his image, and his family were hanging by a single thread. The judge's voice cut through the silence. "These DNA results will determine the paternity of the unborn child, and perhaps the future of this entire family." The clerk tore open the envelope, hands shaking. Paper rustled, hearts pounded, and then the verdict hit. The test concludes with 99.9% probability. Clifford Harris, known publicly as T.I., is the biological father of Shekinah Anderson's child. Gasps, screams, chaos. Reporters rushed to post updates. Within seconds, hashtags trended worldwide. Humber DNA bombshell for Tiny broken. Tiny cried out, collapsing again. "Why, Clifford? Why would you do this to me? To us?" Her daughter held her tightly, begging her to stop, as cameras captured every heartbreaking second. Across the table, Shekinah broke down too. "I never wanted this," she sobbed. "He told me things, made promises. Now look what's happened." When she tried to approach Tiny, Tiny shouted through tears, throwing a water bottle across the table. "You ruined my life. You destroyed my home. Don't you dare act innocent." The courtroom exploded in chaos. The judge pounded his gavel, but it was useless. Order was gone. Outside, protesters chanted, "Cancel T.I. Stand with Tiny." Shekinah is a snake. News outlets broadcasted nonstop. Talk shows called it the greatest betrayal in hip-hop history. Memes flooded social media, some mocking T.I., others supporting Tiny, and a few claiming Shekinah was the true victim. But the worst was yet to come. Days later, a leaked video hit the internet. allegedly showing T.I. laughing with friends before the trial. In the clip, he smirked. Tiny ain't going anywhere. She can cry, she can sue, but she'll always need me. And Shekinah? She's just another move in the game. The internet erupted again. Fans labeled him manipulative, arrogant, heartless. His record label released a brief statement. "We are reviewing our partnership with Clifford Harris following recent developments. Endorsements disappeared overnight. Meanwhile, Tiny became the face of resilience." Her statement made headlines everywhere. "I never thought my family name would be dragged through this, but I will rise. I'll fight. And I'll make sure my children know the truth about the man who tore our home apart." Shekinah, however, faced relentless backlash. Her messages were flooded with threats. Protesters gathered outside her home, chanting angrily. One night, she went live on Instagram crying, "I didn't destroy that family. He did. He told me he loved me, promised to leave her. Now I'm being hunted like a criminal." Then came the final blow. Divorce papers. Tiny officially filed for divorce, demanding half of T.I.'s assets and full custody of their children, along with damages for emotional trauma. When the filing leaked, the language was scathing. Repeated betrayal, public humiliation, irreversible damage. The image of Tiny leaving court. Sunglasses hiding tear-stained eyes, holding her children's hands, spread worldwide. Headlines read, "Tiny ends it all. Divorce after DNA bombshell. T.I.'s empire crumbles. Shekinah, pregnant, alone, and hated." By nightfall, the once golden Harris family was shattered. T.I. sat alone in his mansion, surrounded by silence. Tiny stayed with her mother, embraced by supporters who now saw her as a symbol of strength, a queen rising from ruins. And Shekinah disappeared entirely, hidden from the world that once adored her but now blamed her for everything. But the aftermath didn't end there. Rumors spread quickly. Talk of T.I. losing over $30 million in contracts, whispers that Tiny was preparing a tell-all memoir, and claims that Shekinah planned to leave Atlanta for good. The empire once founded on love, loyalty, and fame was now built on betrayal, resentment, and shattered dreams. And the world couldn't look away. This wasn't just celebrity gossip. It was betrayal in its rawest form. A wife destroyed, a mistress exposed, a king dethroned. The DNA results didn't just confirm paternity, they revealed how fragile power becomes when it's built on deception. As cameras focused on Tiny's tear-streaked face, one truth became painfully clear. She was no longer T.I.'s wife. She had become the tragic queen of a fallen kingdom. And after everything that unfolded, the question wasn't whether this family could heal, it was whether there was anything left to heal at all. A marriage ended, a home divided, children caught in the middle, a legacy marked forever by lies and heartbreak. Tiny's tears weren't just for herself. They were for the life she built, the love she protected, and the dream she believed would never end. But after the DNA results came out and Shekinah's pregnancy could no longer be hidden, everything changed. T.I. wasn't just fighting for his reputation, he was watching his entire empire collapse. Tiny stood at the crossroads, holding the pieces of her heart in one hand and the undeniable truth in the other. This wasn't just gossip. This was a tragedy unfolding in real time. A family torn apart by secrets. A friendship turned poisonous. A story so shocking, it felt scripted for Hollywood. Except it was painfully real. So now the question was, where do they go from here? Can love this broken ever be repaired? Can children recover after watching their parents destroy each other publicly? And most of all, will the truth set anyone free, or will it bury them all? Because this wasn't just another scandal, it was the kind of downfall that shook an entire industry. And if anyone thought this was over, they were wrong. The next chapter would be darker, deeper, and far more devastating than anyone could imagine. Shekinah sat just a few feet away, her pregnancy now visible for all to see. Every stare in that courtroom felt like a blade. Her lawyer whispered frantically, but she couldn't focus. Her eyes locked on the sealed envelope. Her lips trembled as tears formed, ready to fall. Then there was T.I., once untouchable, now sitting rigid, jaw clenched, heart pounding. His empire, his name, his family, all hanging by a single truth. The judge cleared his throat, and silence filled the room. "These DNA results," he said solemnly, "will determine not just the paternity of the unborn child, but perhaps the fate of this entire family." The clerk's hands shook as he opened the envelope. Paper rustled. The air grew heavy. And then the words everyone dreaded. The test concludes with 99.9% probability Clifford Harris, publicly known as T.I., is the biological father of Shekinah Anderson's child. It hit like an explosion. Gasps filled the courtroom. Reporters shouted. Within moments, the internet caught fire. Confirmed, T.I. is the father. Sagur DNA bombshell. Tiny broken. Tiny screamed as her legs gave out, collapsing in anguish. Why, Clifford? Why would you do this to me? To us? Her daughter ran to her, pleading, "Mom, please stop!" Cameras flashed relentlessly, capturing every second of her heartbreak. Across the aisle, Shekinah broke down as well. "I never wanted this," she cried. "He made promises, told me everything would be okay. And now look." She tried to approach Tiny, but Tiny shouted, throwing her water bottle across the table. "You destroyed my life. You broke my family. Don't act like the victim." The room erupted. The judge's gavel slammed repeatedly, but order was gone. The courtroom had become pure chaos. Outside, crowds screamed. "Cancel T.I. Stand with Tiny." Shekinah is a snake. News outlets called it the biggest betrayal in hip-hop history. Talk shows analyzed every second of footage. TikTok filled with memes, some mocking T.I., others supporting Tiny, and a few claiming Shekinah was the real victim. But the storm didn't end there. A leaked video surfaced online, a clip allegedly showing T.I. laughing with friends weeks before the trial. In the footage, he smirked. "Tiny ain't going nowhere. She can cry, she can sue, but she'll always come back." And Shekinah? She's just another move in the game. The internet erupted again. Fans labeled him arrogant, manipulative, and heartless. His record label issued a cold statement. "We are reviewing our professional relationship with Clifford Harris following recent events." Endorsements vanished almost overnight. Meanwhile, Tiny became a global symbol of strength and pain. The woman who gave everything and lost it all. Her public statements spread everywhere. "I never thought my family name would face this kind of humiliation. But I will rise. I'll fight. And I'll make sure my children know the truth about the man who destroyed our home." Shekinah, on the other hand, spiraled into isolation. Her messages filled with threats. Protesters gathered outside her home, shouting her name with fury. One night, she went live on Instagram. Eyes swollen, voice trembling. "I didn't destroy that family. He did. He told me he loved me. He said he'd leave Tiny. Now I'm the one being hunted. I can't even walk outside without being called a monster." Then came the final blow, the divorce papers. Tiny officially filed to end her marriage, demanding half of T.I.'s wealth and full custody of their children. Her lawyers confirmed she would also pursue damages for emotional distress. When the court documents leaked online, the details were brutal: repeated infidelity, public humiliation, and lasting emotional harm. The photo of Tiny leaving the courthouse, dark glasses concealing her swollen eyes, her children by her side, became the defining image of the scandal. Headlines blared across every platform. Tiny ends it all. Divorce after DNA bombshell. T.I.'s empire falls apart. Shekinah, pregnant, alone, and hated. By evening, the once glorious Harris dynasty had collapsed. T.I. sat silently in his mansion, his phone lighting up with messages filled with anger and blame. Tiny withdrew to her mother's home, surrounded by supporters who now viewed her as a queen rising from ashes. Shekinah vanished completely, hiding from the chaos she had become a part of. But the storm refused to settle. Rumors spread. T.I. allegedly lost $30 million in endorsements, Tiny was said to be preparing a tell-all memoir, and Shekinah was reportedly planning to leave Atlanta for good. The empire that once symbolized love and power now stood as a monument to betrayal, heartbreak, and regret. And the world couldn't look away, because this wasn't just another celebrity scandal. It was betrayal in its rawest form. A wife broken, a mistress exposed, a king dethroned. The DNA results didn't just confirm fatherhood, they revealed how even the strongest foundations can crumble when built on deceit. As cameras zoomed in on Tiny's tear-streaked face, one thing became clear. She was no longer T.I.'s partner. She was the heartbroken queen of a fallen empire. Now, after everything that has happened, the question isn't whether this family can heal. It's whether there's anything left to heal at all. A marriage destroyed, a home divided, children caught in the chaos, and a legacy permanently marked by betrayal and lies. Tiny's tears weren't just for herself. They were for the dream she nurtured, the love she defended, and the family she thought was unbreakable. But once the DNA truth came out and Shekinah's pregnancy was undeniable, everything shifted. T.I. wasn't just fighting to protect his image, he was struggling to hold onto the remnants of his empire. Tiny, meanwhile, stood at a crossroads, one hand clutching her shattered heart, the other holding undeniable proof of deception. This was no longer mere gossip. It was heartbreak on display for the entire world. A family torn apart by secrets, a friendship poisoned beyond repair, a saga so intense it felt scripted, except every painful moment was real. So the question remains, where do they go from here? Can love this broken ever truly heal? Can children recover from watching their parents destroy each other under the public eye? And most of all, will the truth set anyone free, or will it consume them all? Because this isn't just another scandal, it's a complete collapse. And the next chapter? It's bound to be darker, deeper, and far more devastating than anyone could imagine.